All right, guys, how's it going? This is Bill from Vision Motorworks. Today we got all of the parts in to be able to do the front end on this truck. So we still got a few more things to do, like we got to get the brake rotors, brake calipers. They make drop spindles for the C20, but they are about double the price as what a regular C10 or C30 is. So I just went with the C30 drop spindles. Now I was planning on replacing all of the brake calipers anyway, and that's the only difference that I know of these C30 spindles is that it has different calipers. So since I was swapping those out anyway, I just went ahead and went with these. They're about half the price. I say the C20 drop spindles, the cheapest ones I could find was like 380 bucks, where these ones for the C30 are like 180. So yeah, we just swapped them out with that. Should work out pretty good. I got all my ball joints, everything to basically do the whole front suspension on the new front end. I got the bag kits, I got the brackets, I got the cups, which I don't know, I may end up having to cut out the actual front lower control arm and drop the bags in. I'm not sure. I got this kit cheap, but usually this one just drops in place where the old spring was. And I know if you cut out the lower control arms, you can get it just a little bit lower. I'm gonna put these in, see how low it gets. If it's low enough for what I have set up, then I'll just leave them. If not, I may have to get the cup kit and actually cut out and re-weld in on the new lower control arms. But today we're gonna get the whole old setup up here on the bench, and I'm gonna try and do it right here on the bench, because I'm gonna have to pull everything apart, clean everything up, paint it, try and get it all put back together. And that front end is actually still hooked to half of the frame that was for the old C20 that it came off. So I got to unbolt it all, get it all tore apart, get some rivets to pull out and stuff. So I'm going to get it over here on the bench. I'm going to grab it with the cherry picker, get all this stuff cleaned off, and then we'll come back and we'll start getting it tore down. I'll probably just do a time lapse on that, and then we'll come back. All right, let's get to it. All right, guys, so this is what we're working with basically. This is basically what you would find in a, your local scrapyard probably. Looks like it's in pretty decent shape, but obviously definitely gonna need some rehabilitation. So see, it's pretty rusty, pretty crusty, and you can see it's still got the frame rails hooked up there. So, and it's still got the motor mounts, which I'm actually hoping I can still use those, because those should actually mount up to that 305 I got. Yeah, as you can see, we're just gonna get everything tore apart, get everything pulled apart, go through, clean it up as much as possible, and then probably hit it with some rust reformer, or some type of black, rust paint, just to kind of clean it up a little bit. But yeah, all right. So we're gonna get the table cleaned off over there, and then we're gonna use the cherry picker here to pop it up on the table, and we will come back when we're about ready to start pulling this thing apart. A lot of it's already pulled apart, so it shouldn't be too much, but yeah, all right, let's go. All right, so as you can see, I got the cherry picker in here. I just got a piece of wood on the table here, and I'm hoping this gives me enough room to work off from. We'll find out here. So the first thing, is going to be trying to get the frame rails off of this. It's just really in the way right now. It's not serving any purpose. So we're gonna go ahead. So we'll unhook these motor mounts here. Unhook, looks like we got 4 bolts here. And then I know there's, I think 3 bolts that come up from underneath of the bottom of the cross member here. And then unhook these 2 bolts. And that should be it. We should be able to pull this off. Not sure if I'll probably use a sway bar actually. So we'll get that unbolted. And hopefully we can make everything fit together and be happy. All right, well, I will get everything ready and we will come back. All right, let's get it. All right, so what I'm gonna try and do here is I already unbolted these top arms on both sides. I took the bolts out of the lower arms too. I still got the shock hooked up. So what I'm gonna try and do is I'm gonna try and punch these bolts down on the lower control arms, and hopefully everything doesn't go flying everywhere. But I'm hoping that'll take enough tension off from the spring to be able to pull that spring out without it flying across the room and, you know, killing anybody. So yeah, let's see if we can get those punched out and how far that gets us. All right, so we got everything stripped down. Let's see, these ones here, these top ones, they were a total pain in the ass. I had to fight with those things for probably about an hour to get those top ball joints out. The bottom ones were simple. But yeah, what I'm gonna do now, I'm outside just because I don't want this crap all over my garage and it's just coated with shit. So I'm gonna take a wire cup wheel and I'm just gonna go over everything, try and get it as cleaned up as much as possible, get a lot of the grease and shit off. And then we're just gonna go through and do a rattle can spray on it, and that's gonna be it. All right, let's get it. All right, guys. So we've got everything kind of loosely painted up. Like I said, it's just rattle can, it's nothing special. I got all the arms painted, upper and lower control arms painted. Everything should be good to go. So now what I'm doing is basically I'm installing the upper bag mounts, or the upper bag mounts. These are just cheap ones off eBay, but they're pretty much all the same. They just kind of, which way do they place in here? Yeah, so they just kind of go in like that. Clamp them down. You drill the holes out. Like I said, I already got that one started on that side. Pretty simple process. Once we get these all drilled out and ready to go, then we're going to start hanging all the upper and lower control arms on, get the bags mounted, get the spindles put on, and then pretty much we're going to go from there. I still got to get the whole front end assembly off from the old front end assembly off, but we're going to try and get this built today, and maybe tomorrow be able to put it in the truck. But yeah, let's get going on this. Like I say, drilling it out is kind of a pain in the ass, but you know, as long as you got some clamps down and everything, you should be good to go. All right, let's get it. All right, guys, I got everything all drilled out. Everything's all lined up really good. So what I did was I went ahead and I mounted my bags. Like I said, it's just a normal fitting. This is 3/8 line, but you mount them up, then you run your hose through, and then bolt everything in place. Now these are eventually going to come back out, and I'm gonna paint these anyway. But what I did was trying to figure out exactly where my hose should come out. I drilled a couple holes here. Now this will be the back side, like probably where the transmission pan, or the oil pan comes down. So I'm hoping this will clear. If not, I may have to switch the hoses around. But I just wanted to kind of show you exactly how these go together, and where my hose routing is going to be. It just kind of made sense to have it come through here. Now again, this could easily be changed later because I'm not 100% sure. And one thing for sure, if I do stick with these spots, I'm definitely going to have to put some grommets on there because this stuff's a little on the sharp side. But for the most part, everything fits pretty good. So I'm just going to go ahead and get these bolted back down. Then we'll flip the whole thing over and we'll start getting the I'm trying to think. I guess we can get the lowers. Yeah, I guess we can get the lowers and the uppers mounted. I may have to take them back off when I go to fit them up over there, but I just want to make sure everything's going to fit back together right now. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll get everything mounted back up and see how it looks. Everything should fit back together pretty good. And then we still have to do the whole tie rod and steering assembly and everything, but I want to get this ready. That way I can get the old one out and get this one at least bolted in, because I know on this one I think you have to drill out a couple extra holes. So we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, I'll get this all screwed up, and when we come back I will have it flipped over and we will start bolting on the upper and lower control arms. We're probably not going to bolt up the spindles yet until we get it over there, just because it'll make it that much lighter to get it over there. And like I said, we still got to unbolt all that stuff. So yeah, so when we come back, everything will be all together, flipped over, and we'll start getting it put together. All right, let's go. All right, guys. So we got it flipped over. The bag's all mounted up really nice. Now we're gonna go ahead and start getting the front or the upper A arms put together, the lower control arms put together, and that's gonna be about it. We're not gonna go much further until it's in the car, because I don't wanna mount the spindles, because I need to be able to swing these arms up and down. That way I can get to the mounting bolts underneath. So yeah, we're gonna get these, all the new hardware put into these, get them installed loosely, and then yeah, we'll go from there. All right, let's get to it. All right, guys. So at this point, basically, I got everything put together as far as my upper and lower control arms. I didn't put my lower ball joints in yet, just because I'm going to wait till I actually get it bolted in. Just because it's so hard to get torque on the lower ball joints to get them pressed in. So I'm going to wait until I have those. I got a couple little touch-up spots to paint, just because I forgot to paint them when I did it. But everything looks like it's going to work good. You know, everything actuates good. Everything lines up really good. I say I still have to put my bolt in the bottom of my my cup here, but I'll wait till it's on the lift, bolt it in. That way I can get everything going. But yeah, everything went together good. Everything looks pretty good. Like I say, I'll probably hit it with another coat of paint when I do the frame, so I'm not really worried about the paint right now, because it's gonna get all scratched up when I go to try and put it in anyway. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try and navigate the cherry picker over here and see if we can get it over there on the floor and see if we can get it close to in place. So when we come back, I'll have the camera moved over there and we will go from there. All right, let's go. All right, guys. Well, that went in pretty easy. Literally all I did was I set it on this this moving rug here on that side, lifted the car up, or the truck up, and then I just grabbed the blanket and pulled it under, got it kind of lined up, and then dropped the lift on it. Like I said, I had to clean up a little bit on the side rails just because it was all rusty as shit, but for the most part, everything went in perfectly good. The only issue I'm having is, like, I've seen a lot of videos where a lot of people can get all but like maybe 1-2 bolts on each side. Me, I was only able to get 2 bolts in on each side right now. So I'm gonna have to drill out a bunch of holes there, which is fine, but it fit in between the frame rails pretty good. So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get it lifted up, and we're gonna start getting the lower ball joints put in. We're gonna get the spindles put on, and then we're gonna go from there. But yeah, everything else is pretty straightforward. Just basically put it back together the same way you took it apart. You can see we got the airbags in there. They work fine. Everything's actuating good, so everything should go together pretty good. Everything seems like it lined up really good. So yeah, we'll get everything else put back together, and then we will go from there. All right, let's go. All right, guys. I was able to get the spindle all mounted up. Like I said, all that's pretty simple. Just bolt on, put your little cotter key in, or whatever the hell it is. As you can see, this thing here, the bottom bag mount, it just kind of sits there. It doesn't actually bolt in or anything. It just kind of sits into place when it's got pressure on it, which is fine. Like I said, it's always going to have pressure on it, so it shouldn't make any difference. So right now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the my old rotors and bearings and everything on, because they're actually in pretty good shape and they fit fine. I think I may even be able to use them with the new calipers. I don't know. if I can, I'm going to clean them up, you know, get all the surface rust off and stuff. But yeah, so I'm going to get these put together, get the wheel put on this side, and then basically just do the exact same thing on the other side. I hope to be able to just get this thing able to roll around right now, because I need to be able to pull it in and out of the garage. That way I could work on other stuff, be able to get stuff on the lift. But yeah, for right now, we're just gonna go ahead and finish this side up, knock out the other side, and that will pretty much be it. Like I said, I got some bolt holes to drill, but I'm not gonna bother, you know, filming all that. It's just drilling bolt holes. That's all it is. All my hardware, I just went up to the local hardware store and got grade 8 bolts. So yeah, I am gonna have to do a little bit of work on the shock mounts. I may be able to still use the lower one here, but the top one's definitely not gonna work. So I'll have to put different shock mounts in whenever I figure out what shocks I wanna get and all that. But like I said, right now I'm just trying to get this thing in and get it mocked up. That way I can get the motor mounts figured out, because the motor mounts actually, the bottom bolts right into the cross member, but the top sits probably a good ½ inch. So I'm gonna have to put a ½ inch spacer up top here, which I'll design out and cut out on the plasma table. Like I said, I may put a video on that, but probably not. I mean, it's just basic stuff. But yeah, my goal is to be able to get the engine mounted and the transmission mounted in here. That way I can make the rear cross member for the transmission. And once that's mounted, basically that's it. I can go through and actually start cleaning up the frame, get it all painted, all the frame painted, and then basically just at that point we're down to mounting all the body work back on, and then rebuilding the engine, getting it put in, and all the hundreds of other little things that are going to need done, like the brake work, all the brake lines, you know, the brake reservoir and everything. Got to get all new ones of that. I may be able to use this old steering gearbox. I don't mind if it's manual steering, it doesn't bother me. But yeah, all right, let's get the rest of this put together and we'll go from there. All right. All right, guys, got everything in. Like I said, I got the wheels put on. I just got a few lug nuts on them right now just to kind of hold them into place. I got to get all new lug nuts, new rotors, pretty much new everything. But everything went together pretty good. Like I said, I still got to drill a couple holes, but I'm not going to waste your time with me drilling holes, and I can do that with it all together. You know, all the holes I need to get to are easily accessible from inside the frame rails, since the motor's not in. But yeah, it is pretty low. It sits about 1.5 inches higher than the rear end. So I actually will raise the rear end about 1.5 inches. That way it's fully level. But my front end here is probably about 3 3/4 off the ground. If you're wondering how far you can get without cutting your lower control arms, this is about it as far as this vehicle. It sits extremely low. I'm really happy with it. I don't need it to go any lower than this. Like I said, it is very low. I love it. But yeah, that's it. Next up, we will be getting the motor mounts set up, getting those figured out. I got to cut all of the old cross members out and get the transmission cross member built. So that'll be the next video. We'll be getting that taken care of. Still waiting on a lot of parts and stuff for the rear end, so I can finish up the 4-link. I had to order some metal and it's just taking forever. So probably when we come back, we'll be working on the 4-link, and then after that, we'll do a video getting just the motor mounted in, getting all the mounts done, and then that's it. Yeah, we'll go from there. Then we will start hanging all the body work back on it. Like I said, I'm not really going to fix much of the rust right now. I'm just going to kind of do that as I go after it's running down the road. But yeah, I want to get once I get the motor mounts done, the transmission mounts done, and the 4-link mounts fully done, then I'm going to go through, probably pressure wash this whole thing off, hit it with some black paint. Not really sure what I'm going to use. What is it? They have the patina black that they use on the frames, and then they have the rust bullet. I'm thinking about trying that. It's a little more expensive, but it's supposed to be pretty tough stuff. But yeah, I'll do a little walk around so you can see how low it is. Yeah, we'll go from there. All right, we'll see you on the next one. Let's go.
You can see it is very low. Like I said, it's not quite land frame, but it's close enough for me. So that back's pretty low. See, it's only about 2 inches, 2 inches in the back, or about 2 inches in the back, and then about close to 4 in the front. So we're gonna adjust it about 1.5 inches, just kind of get her kind of where we want her to be. But it's low. So as soon as we get the parts for that 4-link, we'll get that set up. Yeah, I'm really happy with it. Like I said, it sits good. I don't think it's going to have any problems. The front end looks really, really good. Like I say, I just got some cheap paint on it, but a little bit of cheap paint goes a long way. You can see, let's see if I can get where you can see it here. It is just barely off the ground as far as those control arms. So yeah, so it's low. Yeah, all right, well, still a lot of work to do, but getting a little closer every day with it. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I think it's going to be turning out pretty good. All right, guys, till next time.